I did want to just let everybody know that in addition to these great events that we're putting on, we've been making a lot of changes to the website. And some great new updates happened with the writing gigs page and the contest page. So they're, we hope, far more user-friendly, easier to submit to contests, easier to submit to writing gigs on the site and in mobile, which is pretty exciting. They're easier to read, but we welcome your comments. And if you see any troubles, please be patient with us as we're debugging. But also on your profiles now, you can add a video to introduce yourself as a writer. So it doesn't matter if you're a Connect member or Basic member, if you created a profile, we encourage you to build a great profile out. And on that page, when you're going through the form, you'll see that you can add my video from YouTube or a Vimeo link. Just tell us your story. Tell us who you are, why you're a writer, what you love about writing, or any story in particular that you really want to get out there. And when industry pros are looking at our site and scanning profiles, they'll see who you are and what you're most interested in. In addition to obviously posting your screenplays and your success stories and your awards, it's just another great way to promote yourself. And that is a big part of breaking into the industries, because producers want to know your personality. They buy into more of that than anything. So it's important to, in this day and age where you're not necessarily going to be in front of people as often because of COVID, you get the opportunity to pitch yourself and show these industry pros a little bit more about who you are, which I think is a great new feature for the site. So, and in addition to that, we have some amazing gigs. We have been crazy busy doing outreach with producers, meeting some of the top people in the industry, all looking for content. Please do not go emailing their company. We'll let you know through the gigs what mandates are out there. So just watch the gigs, but you'll see right now there's a lot of animation projects being requested. We have live action kid shows, ultra low budget feature films. There's one going up for World War II story. There's all sorts of gigs and all sorts of opportunities to get hired as a writer if you have some good samples to send out. So please submit what fits the mandate. We have a lot going on. So we'll find you and connect you with the right gig eventually. Just have patience, but please don't submit something that doesn't fit exactly what the mandate's looking for. Anyway, welcome, and I'll pass it back over to Molly to take it from here.
Hi, everybody. I'm Molly. I'm the Director of Operations for the ISA. Thanks for coming to our virtual Third Thursdays. We've been doing Third Thursdays for 6+ years all around the world, and we brought it virtual style a few months ago due to COVID. And because of the great response we got right off the bat from people, we decided to start doing weekly events. So we do a conversation every week. Sometimes we even have another class, so sometimes 2 events a week. So if this is news to you, please check out our events page and see what's coming up. Next week, we're actually talking with Beck & Woods. Is that next week? That's in 2 weeks. That's next week. Woo.
Next week. Yep.
And you can go to our Pro Tips and Tricks page or our YouTube channel to find all of the recordings from the prior events that we've done, and we've got some really great content up there, so please do check it out. They're all really entertaining and educational and fun, and definitely worth an hour and a half-ish of your time. And if you're still looking for more content, you can check out our podcast page. There's a lot of great content there too. So I want to just welcome everybody in and thank our sponsors tonight. Third Thursdays is a little different from the other events we do during the week because we get to give out prizes. So here's what you get. And Chris is going to tell you how you get it, but this is who you're getting it from. CineQuest, actually everybody tonight, in a couple days I'll send out a recap email. Thanks for being on this call, and y'all are going to get $10 off a CineQuest entry, everybody who's here. Then the prizes we have are from Dumbo Film Festival, Capital Fund Screenplay Competition, Micro Film Tournament, Changing Face International Film Festival, and Page Turner Genre Competition. Guys, this is awesome. We always get really great gifts, prizes, and I just have to thank our really generous sponsors for giving them out. It's incredible. One other thing I want to announce is that we have another pitch challenge coming up. We just did this a month-ish ago, and we only gave you like 2 days to submit your pitches. Not so much time, but we just wanted to get it going and see what happened. And what happened was pretty incredible. We got some phenomenal content from everybody. The pitches were great. We had a really hard time narrowing it down, but we did. And our we have 4 winners this time. You're going to go on to pitch in front of an industry panel next month, July 16th, I believe it is. Yeah, July 16th. So we're opening it today. You can find it somewhere, hopefully on the contest page, now that I'm saying that. It should be there. And okay, good. And you have until July 7th. So you have a couple weeks to get a pitch ready, 90-second pitch. You can do 2, please don't do more than that. Really perfect the one that you have and get it to be the best that it can be and submit it. And if you win, hi Craig. If you win, you get to pitch in front of the panel. Plus you also get a free development evaluation, which is a $200 value to be part of the development slate.
Hi everyone, I'm Jaron. I'm the creative executive with the ISA. I work very closely with Felicity on the development slate, as well as just finding material across all our platforms, contests, writing gigs, development evaluations, referrals, all that good stuff. I want to get right into the content of tonight's stuff, so I won't take long. I do want to announce that big success story. We just had our fast track fellow, Kevin Bashar, signed with Citizen Skull Productions today. Matt Prater, who a lot of you know. We facilitated that, and we're very happy about that. So yeah, everyone congratulate Kevin Bashar, even though he's probably not watching. But
I'm Shayna Weber. I'm the manager of production and research. So right now there's not a lot of production things to do. I work a lot with Molly on events and host some of these panels and webinar type talks that we have.
My name is Felicity Wren. I'm the Director of Development. I work with Jaron looking for amazing screenwriters with a unique voice and a story to tell. And I am so pleased that we have so many brilliant people that are part of the ISA. You're such a great community and I love being part of it. And let's make the world a better place through story.
Yeah, as Molly mentioned, we have a whole bunch of podcasts and constantly updating new pro tips and tricks on the video side. On the podcast side, we just posted a podcast today about writing action films. So if that's your genre, you might want to check that out. And I just posted a video with Justin Simeon, who of course wrote and directed Dear White People and had a movie at Sundance called Bad Hair. It's a horror comedy I can't wait to watch. That'll be coming out later this year. And these videos that you're seeing right here on Zoom, I usually try to get them up within about 2 days, which means the great event last night that Jaron talked about procuring financing for independent film, that should be up tomorrow. As long as all goes well, I'm sure it will. And then this will be up next week. And just to mention about CineQuest, we had a big panel on screenwriting contests, and we had an admin from CineQuest on there. And that is still findable over on the Pro Tips and Tricks page.
My name is Max Tim. I'm the Director of Education for the ISA. I'm also the co-VP of Development with our production side of things with our production company. And as those projects, I sometimes host some of these events. Speaking of, next week, I have, as a part of our monthly Connect member only, which this coming week will not be Connect member only, but I host basically a class for free for about an hour and 20 minutes, and I cover some form of the development topic. I'm also a consultant with my own separate consulting company called The Story Farm. I've been doing that for about 16 years, working with writers every day on the phone all the time, developing, brainstorming, and just teaching writers how to address not only notes, but rewrites, but also brainstorming brand new material. So a huge part of the development process, as all of you are probably aware, is the outline. So for next time, it's titled, our next week class is called The Outline, Why It's Important, Necessary, and How to Use It. So I'm going to go through all the steps in terms of how to approach the initial processes of laying out your project step by step, whether it's a half-hour sitcom, half-hour adult comedy, animated. It's a feature. It's an hour long. I'm going to go through all these steps in terms of how to look at something from a bird's eye view, because it's so important to be able to get just a handle on things from somewhat of a formulaic aspect. But once you know the formula, you can start changing things. So anyway, that's next week, Wednesday, June 24th at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard. It's going to be here on Zoom. We'll be sending out all those links, in terms of how to access that. But there are a whole bunch of other things that all of the rest of the wonderful crew of the ISA is noted. Just, stay tuned for what's going on.
Hello all, that's me, I'm Carissa. I do our social media and marketing. Molly mentioned the virtual pitch challenge, and I'm really excited about this because we did this as a social push last time, and we had an amazing turnout. We saw so many great pitches, and 3 of the finalists met with a top literary manager, and then 2 of the finalists had their material requested by an MGM exec. So it was great. We highly recommend that you guys submit your pitches. You can do up to 2 pitches, and this time we are requiring a screenplay. So if they do reach out and they want to know more, which hopefully they will, we'll have your screenplay ready. So yes, go to our Twitter, follow us on social, @Network ISA. I will put all of the links into the chat. And we've got some fun things coming up for you guys, so stay tuned.
I think I'll just kind of stress this level. I mean, obviously my role with the ISA is Director of Education. And I think I say it almost every single time, so everybody who works with me is probably tired of me saying this. But everyone else who has not heard it yet, we're all with these events, whether it's our social Third Thursdays or if it's some of the more interview-based special events that we have on a weekly basis, obviously my class on a monthly basis, we really cannot emphasize enough how important it is to educate yourself on all levels of life. But obviously we're talking about screenwriting. Take the time to educate yourself. I don't care if you are just working with friends, read each other's projects. You have to be reading. It's well known that actors in town read more scripts than writers do, and that's kind of backwards. Writers should be studying their own craft. So I'm pressing everybody to really focus themselves on educating themselves as much as you can. Obviously, you are smart enough to join in and jump into this, I guess we'll call it a panel. Are these Zoom events called panels anymore? It's an event. So you're smart enough to take the time here and try to learn some wisdom from, we see Lamont. Hi, Lamont, welcome. And Shayna, obviously going to be asking some amazing questions. So I guess I'm just throwing that out there. We have to put it on ourselves, take the onus on ourselves to make sure that we improve a little bit every single day. And the only way to do that is to educate yourself. So anyway, that's my PSA.
I will do a little bit of a bio reading for Mr. Lamont Magee. Lamont Magee is currently a writer-producer on Black Lightning, which airs on the CW. Prior to his stint on Black Lightning, he wrote for Single Ladies and The Quad, which both aired on BET. Last year, Lamont had the privilege of writing on the CW's Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover event, helping to introduce Black Lightning into the larger Arrowverse world. To date, Magee has penned or had a hand in penning well over a dozen feature screenplays, with 2 films, The Speak and A Beautiful Soul, receiving theatrical releases. 2019 was a banner year for Lamont as he sold 2 more feature films, Lights Out, co-written by Jeff, which was acquired by Arclight Films, Hotel Mumbai, and Buffalo Flats, co-written by Magee, Jason Essex, and Corey Tynan, sorry, I don't know if that name's right, which was acquired by MGM. Both movies are slated to start production in early 2021. And Lamont currently has several film, television, and animation projects at various stages of development around town, and should have more exciting news to share in the coming months. Lamont is basically on fire. We'll just say that.
Wake up!
Hi, Lamont.
Hi, Shayna.
How are you?
I'm good. Long time.
I know. It's always like long time, and then we see each other, and it's like, oh yeah, how you doing?
Because it's kind of how it is. I've known you
right
a while. Let's just say that.
Lamont and I have known each other for probably 20 years. He was when I moved out to Los Angeles in '99. And
Right.
even before that, I met you because I came down for spring break, and Lamont was dating my friend. And so we came and stayed with them in LA, like my first time really down in LA. And yeah, part of the reason I moved down here was, you know, Lamont was so awesome.
She lies.
No.
But yeah, thanks for having me on. You know, I'm always here for you, Shana.
Well, thank you. So let's just start out before we get Jeff on. Let's talk about you. Will you talk a little bit about, you know, growing up in LA? I know you grew up in LA, but just tell a little bit about your story and how you got into being a writer.
Everyone's story for getting into being a writer is always different. Mine is odd, just like everybody else's. So I grew up in South Central LA. I always could write. I was winning essay contests in elementary school. It was just fun for me. I love words. I love to read. And then when I was in 6th grade, I got the chance to get bussed out to Woodland Hills. So I went to junior high school and high school in the Valley. So I had to get up at 5:30 every morning for 6 years and get bussed out to Woodland Hills because I made a choice. Unfortunately, the schools in LA, the education wasn't up to par, let's just say. They didn't have honors and AP classes. They didn't have enough teachers. So if I wanted to compete in the world, unfortunately, I had to leave. So I went to junior high school at Parkman, which is now Woodland Hills Academy. And then I went to Taft High School. And then from Taft, I went to UCLA, where I met Shana's friend, my ex-girlfriend. And I fell in love with screenwriting in a very odd way. I was staying in a place and I used to come with stories all the time. I loved coming up with stories and writing little short stories and just tucking them away. And then a friend of mine who was visiting my roommate at the time, he said, "Hey man, that story you told me about this black superhero, you should probably write it. You should write it as a screenplay." I'm like, I've never written a screenplay in my life. So what happened was he convinced me. I was like, fine, I'll do it. So I went to Barnes & Noble. I bought a copy of Pulp Fiction, which isn't a script to follow. So I bought a copy of Pulp Fiction. My dad literally built me a computer, and my ex-girlfriend at the time bought me a copy of Final Draft. And I started writing the script, and I just fell in love with it. Like I couldn't wait to come home from school just to work on the script. Like I would flake out on dates just to stay home and work on the script. And then I knew, I mean, I was bitten by the writing bug, and then I just literally just kept writing. This was 21 years ago. Mm-hmm. So I just kept writing and writing and writing and writing. And then somehow I convinced people that I was decent at it, and they started paying me for it. They haven't found out that I'm horrible.
Oh, stop.
But so that's kind of my story. It's everyone has their own path. Basically, you just don't give up, because I didn't get here overnight. It took years, took over a decade to get my first really good paid writing gig. But I just love it. Like I just love writing. I'd literally be doing it for free if I was. Should I say that? Well, yeah, I would be doing it for free if I wasn't getting paid to do it.
Well, I think that people should know, you know, you downplay a lot of your hustle, but I mean, you're certainly somebody, when I moved to LA, I didn't even know I wanted to be writing or doing anything. I thought I wanted to do set design or casting or something else. And I just remember you always had an absolute belief in yourself, even though you're not saying so much right now, but you always did. And you always knew that you were going to get there. And then secondly, your hustle, you have a strong hustle. You really do. And you're very mellow, but let's talk a little bit about your hustle, because a lot of people ask a lot of questions about, how do I network? How do I make connections? How do I find the people that are going to be in my, tribe or village or whatever? So can you just talk a little bit about that?
So this business it's a mixture of talent, persistence, and a lot of hustle. You're going to get a lot more no's than yeses. If you get a 200 average, you literally are Spielberg. So when it comes to it, like I always knew that it's not just going to be the talent and it's not just going to be the persistence. It's who you know. So I know it's hard to get out of comfort zone sometimes, but you have to meet people and you have to just continue, like, be actually their friends. Like, say, hey, it's their birthday, send them a card. Or, hey, I heard about your son got into Harvard, congratulations. Just stay on people's minds. And also what typically happens is if you start at the bottom, you meet other like-minded people at the bottom and you guys rise together. But you have to have a network of people. I have friends that have given me jobs that were the door guy at the club I used to go to.
Mm-hmm.
Now creative executives who call, they're like, are you still writing? I know you're still writing, right? And then, but it's about who you know, but you have to be able to deliver when you get the call. Because
that's a good point. Yeah.
You may get
guys,
the job.
sorry I'm late.
Hi, Jeff.
Hey,
I
Jeff.
didn't mean to interrupt. I don't mean to interrupt, but I always interrupt Lamont Magee anyway, since that's how we roll when we write together. So I was nice. I've been here for a few minutes. I just wanted to listen to Lamont pontificate. I love it.
Well, we'll get to you in a sec.
Cool, I'll be quiet.
Continue my pontification.
Yes.
So what it really comes down to is, and Jeff knows this, and I'm really good at this, is you really have to, you got to believe in yourself and you have to hustle. And if you get a no, there'll be a yes around the corner, but you have to keep working on your craft and you have to keep honing it. And also, you cannot just have that one thing. You can't have the one idea that you're shopping around and everyone, like, if you're a waiter at a restaurant, you're sliding it to the directors and actors. One, they don't like that. But two, if someone reads it, the first thing they're going to say is, oh, this is great. What else do you have? Mm-hmm. And if you don't have anything, then you're just another person with one good idea. They want to know if you can duplicate it.
Right.
That's the trick.
Excellent. Let's move over to Mr. Jeff Byrd. Hello, sir.
Hey,
we're
how are
officially meeting right here. So I know Lamont for like 20 years, but I've never met you. So hello, how are you doing?
How do you know that I know Lamont for 20 years and never meet me?
I don't know.
I blame Lamont.
I do too. Yes, your fault, bud.
He was keeping us apart. He was keeping us separate.
That's
no
fair.
longer.
You know me, I'm super selfish.
Oh, totally. Just keeping all his people like separated.
Exactly. So, sorry I'm late though. I was doing.
Oh, it's fine.
Behind me, I was doing my DGA business.
Yes.
I was doing some DGA business. So now I'm in my writer's mode.
Awesome. Yeah, we warned everybody that you guys both had meetings right before, so you were kind enough to jump on as soon as you were free. So we were good. We were just chatting. For you jumped on only a couple minutes into my convo.
Yeah, I literally just got in.
So you're good.
10 minutes ago.
So Jeff, will you just tell everybody here a little bit about yourself and how you started in the industry and what you're doing now?
Once again, my name is Jeff Byrd, and I am a director and writer, as well as a producer as well. I guess I'm all those things. I started in the industry. I started in New York. I live in LA now, but I started in New York. Born and raised in Brooklyn, by the way. Go Brooklyn. That's how that is. And I'm sure there's somebody on this Zoom from Brooklyn, because there's always a person from Brooklyn everywhere you go. And I started in the school of Spike Lee, 40 Acres and a Mule. So that's kind of where I'm from. I worked on Mo Better Blues, Jungle Fever, Malcolm X. Like right out of high school and into college, I was, thrust into the Spike Lee world. And it was great. And, I had a great time working on those films. I worked for 40 Acres. So all those films and the music videos and commercials in between. And while I was there, it was during the heyday of music video, and a bunch of friends of mine were getting record deals, just haphazard record deals. And they were like, well, I need a video, I need a music video, I need a director. And they didn't know any directors, and they figured because I worked for Spike Lee that I could direct. They're like, well, Jeff works for Spike, so he can direct our video. And they would call me and be like, yeah, Jeff, you're doing this video. Be next weekend, we shoot this video. And I'm like, yo, I don't know, I'm not a director. And they were like, well, you are now. I got, so then I asked Spike, I was like, Spike, do you think I should direct these videos? Because I wanted to be a DP. I originally I worked in the lighting department. So I wanted to be a DP because I loved Ernest Dickerson and the way he lit people, especially Black people. I thought it was amazing. So I was like, that's what I want to do. And I got these videos and Spike was like, yeah, you should do it. Hey, if you don't like it, then, just don't do it again, but you should do it. So I did. And my music video career rose from there. And I met F. Gary Gray, who's still a good friend of mine to this day. And he was like, yo, Jeff, man, you should move to Los Angeles because that's where, all the work is. And I was a hardcore New Yorker at the time. I was like, man, I'm never going to leave New York. Forget that. Sellouts live in LA. That's terrible. So he's like, nah, you're going to move to LA. So then he had his company call me and they wooed me. And I was like, I don't have no car. And they were like, well, we'll buy you a car. I don't have a place to live. We'll get you a place to live. So, and that's when I got to LA. They flew me out. And I was like, I'm only going to stay out here for 6 months. And I was like, after that, I got wooed. Once I got out here, I was like, are you kidding me? I'm never leaving. and that's what happened to me coming to LA. Now, the funny thing about Lamont Magee and I met. So I started writing. I had a writing deal over at HBO for like 2 years. I did a short film that I wrote and directed that won this film festival. And a deal came with it over at HBO. And I wrote like 2 scripts for them. And I met Lamont through a person who shall remain nameless, but it was a guy who was trying to get a project done. And they said, oh, Lamont's a writer and, Jeff's director, and we should put them both together. And we hit it off almost immediately, even though the person who recommended us together turned out to be a shyster. He and I both remained, partners, after the fact. And we've written like a few scripts together, and one of which actually pays our bills every year because it keeps getting optioned. It's like this script that everybody wants to make, but has never made it as of yet. But believe me, the option money comes in great every time they go, oh, this is great, we want to option this. Okay, great. Pay the mortgage, pay the rent. So that's kind of how he and I met. And we get along great because I have a tendency I write long and Lamont gets right to the point. So I'll send him like, 30 pages of something and he'll be like, Jeff, this is 10 pages worth of stuff right here. You have 30 pages, but 10 pages worth of accurate stuff that we should have. So.
What happens is I say something like, I see what you're trying to do here. Hold on, let me just trim it a little bit.
Yes, so that's kind of how we roll as partners. So, for me, I also work in the DGA. I'm the co-chair of the African American Steering Committee at the DGA. I was on the Western Directors Council there. But I consider my writing with Lamont like sacred safe space. Mm-hmm. And he and I are able to really dig in and get some really good scripts done, whether they be feature length or shorts as well. Because even at our level right now, we still write shorts, which is great, which I really appreciate. Lamont, who is, extremely busy on the writing side in his own right with other stuff, he will still, stop to write some things with me that may just be short film worthy. And we just, pound those things out real quick. So that's me in a nutshell.
And what are you working on now? I mean, right now, not like COVID now, but,
Oh, not COVID. Well, but basically, Lamont and I have a script that actually we are rewriting. We're kind of recrafting. It's a short, actually, that we're recrafting. That's a short that can become a feature-length film. And we're kind of Lamont, did you already talk about it? Did you bring it up?
I didn't.
Bring it up. So yeah, it's a short film. It's a female lead, and it's kind of like a science fiction-y mixed with a horror scenario. And I don't want to give it away as of yet, but it's something that that is really occupying my time and Lamont's time right now because it's on the precipice of getting done. We have some funding pretty much in place to get it done. So we're just trying to figure out COVID-wise, how we can shoot it.
Are you directing that, or are you guys just writing it and then someone else is directing it?
I think I'm gonna direct this one, but there's another script that we wrote that we're about to kind of rewrite that we're gonna get a woman to direct. For some reason, we have a tendency to write these female-driven scripts a lot, so it's interesting.
I know why I do it. I grew up in a house full of women.
Right.
And I have 3 sisters too. So, but also I think it's from the standpoint of, it's funny how if you look at the subject matter that's out there, we go, well, we've seen a man do this, we've seen a man do that, we've seen, but we've never seen a woman do this, or we've never seen a woman do that. And it's like literally like, the world opens up. Your mind of ideas opens up because we've never seen a woman do X, Y, or Z. So it's something that's really caught our attention of late.
Awesome. So when you guys work together, you talked a little bit about, turn that video back on. You talked a little bit about, you sending pages or whatever, but will you guys talk just a little bit about your process, either together, separately, or like how you work? Do you outline? Do you guys just throw pages at each other and different stories, or, how do you guys work?
All right, so when I'm doing something, usually I outline stuff because I can just write it, like Shana knows, I really don't forget, and it just sits in my head, so I can write out stuff that's been sitting there forever. But it's easier if you outline things, just so you know how the beats are and how you know what the transitions are, and you can find the quiet moments in between things. And what I like to do is I like to outline stuff. Say for Black Lightning, I'll outline for Black Lightning, and then I'll take the outline and then I'll break that into script form, because I always write a lot of dialogue in my outlines. So when you actually put it in script form, when you have to write a 50-page script and you look and you already have 26 pages done, you feel good about yourself. You never have a blank page, so it's like you feel like it's easier to edit than to write, right? So you can expand it, you can write it. With Jeff, we have our own little thing we do. It's kind of like we just split it up. Like for the movie that's probably going to get shot in 2021, either it's going to be the company that it's with now or another company. The way we wrote that during the last writer's strike. And we just talked about it. We didn't do an outline. It was just like, we just knew it so well that he was like, all right, you write the first act. He went to Palm Springs and he wrote the second act. And then he sent it back. And then we both wrote the third together because it went really, really fast. And like he said, he wrote like 1 million pages for the second act. I was like, I know what you're trying to do here. So I compressed it and it worked really well. It's a very bare bones kind of history of violence type and with a female lead, and it worked out. Like you said, that's the one that pays our bills a lot.
Yeah, I mean, and I love doing it that way. Don't get me wrong. I see. Here's the thing, Lamont. With our relationship, Lamont is a purist. He's a purist writer. He's he does it the way everybody is supposed to do it. He's the Grabanese. He's the consummate writer. Whereas I'm kind of like the bull in the china shop, and I'm writing so many pages. I do it and I do a lot of my writing from a director's mindset. And I usually, sometimes I don't really do outlines. I'll do an outline if I feel a subject is confusing. But for the most part, I like to let the characters speak through me. And then I'll put in all the words of what I think the character's saying. I'll even stand up in the midst of it. I'll walk around.
All the words.
Yeah, I put in all the words. But the beauty of it is, that's why I like our relationship when we write together, is because Lamont will take care of all the rest of it. And also make it sound better than the way I originally wrote it. I'll go back and I'll look at what he redid of my words that I put in there. Sometimes I'll fight for my words. I'm like, but Lamont. And then I'll go, oh, but this is okay. You're right, this works. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you know what, you're right. That works. I'll forget it. I'll leave it alone. Leave it there. So we kind of police each other a little bit like that. But it's really more him policing me than me policing him. So, and it kind of works. And I think I add an energy to our relationship that, that sometimes he needs around. Not all the time, because he does his own stuff, but sometimes he needs that bull in the china
I can totally see this relationship working, because I know Lamont, he's very just like chill. And
Yes.
I agree. He needs to be riled up sometimes.
A little bit.
I can see you like rile him up. I like it.
I definitely do. It works perfectly.
Yeah.
In most times. most times.
So what do you guys do when you're finished when you feel like you have a draft that's like good? Who do you show it to? Who are your people that you send it to before you start actually sending it out to, producers and stuff? Do you have a writer's group? Do you have a core group of people? What do you do?
Luckily.
Oh yeah.
Luckily.
Do we ever have a group of people?
Yeah, luckily we have this core group of actors, writers, directors, executives who are like really close friends, and they've
Call
done
them blurs, baby. Blurs in the house.
the blurs. Yeah, our blurs.
Black nerds with the blurs.
But we have a lot of people who've done a lot of TV, a lot of features, and we send it off to them, and we get their honest, because they're honest. They'll give you their honest opinion and like what works, what doesn't work, and then we'll go back and then we'll tweak stuff based off of their notes.
Yep.
And then we'll send it to the reps.
Yes.
And see what the reps feel. And sometimes we push back against the reps because sometimes it depends. Like my new set of reps are very creative and they kind of go along with stuff. Well, sometimes reps push back because they don't see it. They just know what the marketplace says, but they don't know. They don't think this story's going to work in this marketplace. But like if it's a good story, it finds a way. It finds an audience. Somebody will be a fan of it somewhere. If it's written well and you believe in it and the characters are real characters, it'll work.
Yeah, and also they'll tell us when the script is straight up whack. They'll be like, you know what, that is a whack idea and it's a whack script. Don't do it. Yeah. Stay away from that. So we definitely hand it off, or at least even pitch it. We'll pitch the idea to the blurs, to the rest of the folks, and see what they think. And even if we should take our fingers and put them on the keyboard, that's a lot of it too. Because as you guys will find out, and some of you know, this is obviously a time thing. It takes you time to write a script, and and depends on, some people can say, oh, I wrote that in 2 weeks, or some people say I wrote that in 2 years. But whatever you write, you want to make sure that it has the best, one of two things. It has either the best chance of getting made, or it is something from your heart, because that way you'll never regret what you write. And even if it never gets sold, even if it never finds a buyer, finds a home, as long as it comes from your heart, then you will never feel like you wasted your time. Now then the commerce side says, hey, you want to pitch your ideas to people before you put your fingers on the keyboard, because you do not want to waste your time. If your goal is to sell something, if your goal is to, take your heart out of it and just make a piece of material that's going to sell, then you need to talk to your people, talk to your tribe, talk to your group, and throw some ideas out there and see what comes back and see what sticks and what doesn't. And then write for that, because you want to say, okay, I want to sell something. And there's a certain formula out there. Not everything is, not everything is ethereal. The film gods and the writing gods have blessed you about. There are some things that are kind of formula based that stand a very good chance of getting bought. So, you just have to decide which area you're going for. The heart and soul, or a piece of commerce. Right.
Do you guys have ideas or scripts that you have like set aside that say you wrote, they didn't go anywhere, but then they've been resurrected years later, or are they just done?
No, they're never just
Nothing's ever over.
Nothing is ever over. They're not just done, because remember that piano script I wrote, Shayna? Is this like a piano prodigy?
Yes.
Still going. Yeah, it's been optioned 10 times, and now it has more heat behind it than it ever had. But it's just if your story is timeless, it'll find a place eventually. A lot of people say it's been around town too long. Yeah, people have read it, but no one has seen it. So eventually somebody might take the chance, put money behind it, because the general public has never seen the script. They've never seen it on screen. So I feel like you just have to, again, that's one of those things. Sometimes you have to take it off the market and just hold on to it. Write other stuff. If it's something you feel passionate about, say it's something that you want to do. Say Jeff was writer, director or something, and he's like, I want to direct this, but at the time he wasn't big enough. He would have taken it off the racks, write something else. And then when he's at the point where he wanted to be, he puts it back on the table and say, this is the thing I'm doing next. But you have to believe in yourself to get to that point and be bold enough to taken off the table sometimes. No,
Yes, indeed.
no is kind of like, if you can say no to things sometimes, it might actually benefit your career.
Yes. And yeah, I think I agree with Lamont. And also I think, you know, nothing ever really dies. Like, what did somebody say? I read that Forrest Gump took like 13 years to get made. You know, so it's like some of these scripts, like I said, if you write it from your heart, and you feel it's great, then the time it takes is the time it takes to get it made. And like Lamont said, some things you're just going to put on the back burner and realize it might not be the time for this project right now. I don't have enough leverage. Also, that's the main thing too, is knowing yourself, and taking your pride and ego out of it. Knowing where you sit on the depth chart, you know, on the totem pole. There's a totem pole of, you know, of life, and knowing where you are and having to really sit with yourself and know, okay, then now is not the time for this. I don't have enough power to get this thing to the next level. And that's a mirror conversation. And it doesn't make you any less of a person, any less than, if you don't have the power. Just the reality of it is knowing I do not have the power right now. But I'm going to put this on the back burner. I'm putting it in the back of my head so that when I do, you know, I mean, hey, there was a time when Lamont and I were, you know, giving each other money just to get groceries. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, can you come meet me at the grocery store? I got some stuff. I can't pay for all the stuff. Can you come pay for it for me? Yo, I'm there. I got you. You know, oh, you got me. I got you. And now, you know, we're to a place. I mean, Lamont's one of the most sought after writers in town right now. Forget, you know, color or any of that stuff, or the black and white. He's just one of the most sought after writers right now. So, you know, now we can look back on that and go, okay, we have these ideas that we did back when we were broke. You know, let's start putting some of those at the forefront. And that's what Lamont's able to do right now. He's putting a lot of the ideas that he had, and that some of which we had together, in the forefront, and people are latching onto them because of his current level of heat. So it's a beautiful thing to still have those ideas. And that's also as long as you believe in those ideas. You can't, you know, what you don't want to do is sully your reputation by having an idea that you only halfway believe in, but because you're so hot right now, you want to sell it anyway. That's how you become no longer hot. That's how you cool off, because you're selling people crappy ideas just because you're hot at the moment. Don't do that.
That's a good piece of advice. I like that. Well, you kind of, I mean, you didn't touch on it, but I'm going to go there because we're going to do this one question, and then I'm going to pull up a couple people to ask you guys questions from our attendees. So, oh, hold on, my kid's coming in. Hello, buddy.
Uh-oh.
Hi, bud.
Way to go.
Come. Well, you better look in here. Look right there. There's Max.
What's up?
Hello.
What's up?
Lamont and Jeff. All right, bye. You gotta go. What? Okay.
Come on now.
This is what happens. Okay, you gotta go, bud. Okay, you gotta go.
He's reclaiming his time with mommy.
All right, I'll ask the question and then I'll mute myself and give out. So will you guys just talk about the current, you know, there's COVID going on, there's big movements going on in the world. What's sort of the climate for you guys out there in, sorry about that, in the marketplace, in the world? How are you guys feeling? Just about how everything is going on right now.
Oof, that's a good question. Let's see, that's a good COVID question. Let's talk about that for a quick second, Lamont. Well, I feel good. I mean, I'm trying to, you know, here's the thing, you know, trying to just stay, you know, safe and healthy. I mean, because it's twofold. There's a bunch of things. So there's COVID out there, and then there's the, you know, everything that's going on in the world of social activism that is happening. And, you know, so I'm dealing with that as well, being a black man walking around in the world. So, you know, all of that comes into play. So, you know, as much as I want to go out and be involved and activate, you know, I have to also think where I'm going to go, because I'm the breadwinner of my family. So I got to think about how I'm going to, sorry about that. I got to think about how I'm going to show up for that. And so I do a lot of my stuff on the keyboard. I do a lot of keyboard fighting. I do a lot of keyboard stuff. And that's my goal. So, you know, in writing scripts, and also, you know, answering people's emails, and, you know, making whatever, you know, dealing with my DJ ASC, and, you know, making whatever subject I currently want to be my thing for the day, I go for that, and I try to use my gifts and my skills as a writer, as a director, to push forward to that, and so I can keep my mind, moving and free and creative, and also keep my body healthy from COVID, and not, I like to keep my social distance from people. I wear my mask. I have a wonderful dope mask here that I wear. It's got little vents in it. It's really cool. I go hiking with it and everything like that. And just keeping myself ready for when work eventually comes back, which is about to do. Lamont?
So what Jeff said, the world is, my wife says they had it wrong. It wasn't 2012, it was 2020 that the world was going to end. They just got it wrong. So makes sense. But as far as, for me, writing is the safe haven. Like, I want to go out, I want to march, but like Jeff said, I'm the breadwinner of the family and I can't afford to get sick. So I'm home and I'm writing stories, and I'm here for people to call if they want to vent about stuff and talk about stuff. And as far as the COVID stuff, like, we really don't know. Like, we know stuff's going to pick up soon-ish, and people will be shooting again, and there'll be rules and regulations in order to get that stuff done. But the beauty of Hollywood is when the world goes sideways, Hollywood is the thing that keeps people sane. Like, watching the shows and being able to rally. It's like the 80s all over again, where people can rally around the TV with their families and watch shows because they can't go anywhere. People are like watching TV, and it's like helping them cope and deal with the world as it is right now. And that's it's good being able to help people deal. So it's a privilege.
It's amazing. It's amazing to think about right now, to watch a show and think about other worlds. Watch Star Trek Picard, or watch, Next Generation, or, watch anything that gets you out of whatever your current state, what your current state may be. It's just a brief, separation, and, a breather, and also it's, a hope for the future of, what we, because what I love? I love this town. I love Hollywood. I love writers. I love direct. I love what we do so much, because a lot of times, let's be honest, we foresee the future as writers and directors. We foresee where it's going. Even if you just think about something as simple as the Jetsons. For those of you that are young and don't know what the Jetsons is, go online and go to Google, go to YouTube, and type in the Jetsons. The Jetsons was made back in like the 60s. And, everything that happened on the Jetsons is now reality. We have phones that you can look in and see someone's face. We're literally looking at each other on a Zoom. Mm-hmm. And it's the freaking Jetsons right now. This is the Jetsons. So what I'm saying is, we as writers can craft the future. We can craft what it is. Because believe me, these things didn't get created just out of somebody's, some kid watched the Jetsons and said, maybe that's possible, and grew up, moved to Silicon Valley, and made this device that we're talking on right now. Because they were influenced by something they saw when they were a child.
So every time I wear my Apple Watch, at least once a month I'll say, "Kid, come get me."
Yeah, right.
Knight Rider, and that was literally what Knight Rider was. He was talking into his watch to his car.
Oh, I love
exactly. And now you can get your car, your Tesla. If you have a Tesla, it can come get you. It can literally come and park and come get you. So that's what we're up against. And that's where we're at. So I think the hope is in us still creating content and writing the future. Writing past this moment in time, writing past COVID. Because sure enough, as we're standing here in 2020 right now, there was a time called 2010. That was 10 years ago. So there will also be a time called 2030 that we're past this. And we're going to be able to go, remember back in 2020 with that COVID and all that stuff that was happening? Remember that? So, write for tomorrow. Write
what you want to see, how you want to see the world. Write that.
Boom.
Yeah.
That's how it should be.
That's our job.
That is definitely all of our jobs on this Zoom.
Yes. All right, so
Yeah.
I'm going to jump to some attendee questions, and we saw Bill pop up here for a second, and then he disappeared. So let's bring Bill back up. Hey, Bill, how are you?
Hi, great. And what a treat. And you have no idea the opportunity that this is for all of us. So thank you all for being here. And this is timely. I'm a newbie, and it's a lot of information to take in. And yesterday I read something on one of the Facebook groups, which was helpful. And it said that a writer who has had scripts sold and produced said that he agonizes, and that's the key word, agonizes over every word. And what I'm wondering is that particular writer, or is that the norm?
Question, Bill. It's a good question.
Well,
Yeah.
okay. I say.
I'm going to hop off because you don't need to see my face. Thank you very much for your
Thanks,
time.
Bill.
Thanks, Bill. So
Thanks, Bill.
here's the answer. This is my answer. Every time you write a script, you feel like that's the last good thing you're ever going to write.
Mm.
Period. And then you get lucky and you write the next one. You're like, oh, that's a fluke. But it turned out pretty good. Cool. What I agonize over is it may not be every word, but I agonize over the dialogue. It may not be every word, but it has to sound authentic, and it has to sound like the people, and it has to sound, if I'm writing it for the 40s, it has to sound like the 40s. I don't want it to sound like it's someone from today trying to pretend like they're in the 40s. For me,
Right.
authenticity that's the thing that I agonize over. So when I write Black Lightning, I want to make sure the girls are speaking like girls their age would speak. And Jefferson, the dad, is speaking, the way he speaks. So I just want to be consistent and authentic in all the voices, and that's what I agonize over.
That's a good question, Bill. I mean, I agonize. I mean, I used to agonize a lot. I agonize now more so from the concept of once it gets option, like, are they going to make it right? Are they going to make it the way Lamont and I originally wrote it? Believe me, Lamont and I have these conversations all the time. It's about trust. Like, freaking, what are we going to do now? Because they got it. They optioned it. We got to cross our fingers and hope they get it right.
Right.
So that to me, that's where the agony really comes in. Because I mean, Lamont and I, when we write, we beat each other up. So meaning we will definitely criticize each other's writing.
Yeah, you hold each other to the highest
yes, hold
level.
each other to a very high standard. And so by the time we actually pump it out for people to read, we're pretty confident in it. Then the agony comes into when the agents and managers come on board and say, hey, so this company's interested, that company's interested, and so here, and then we look at the past work from this company or that company. Ooh, I don't want it to end up like that movie. Oh, I don't want it to end up like that thing. Well, this is their whole track record right here. These things, and we don't want that. This is not Sharknado. No respect to Sharknado, love Sharknado, but some of the things that we write, you don't want to put a round peg into a square hole. So that's the concept, is you want to be able to be ready for that and go, oof. And then other times we go, well, if it's a piece of commerce, if it's a piece of business, and, but even then, I say that flippantly, there's commerce and then there's your heartfelt projects. But even the things that I would say in commerce, still,
you're still like,
emotional
that's
investment.
Yeah.
I still have an emotional investment in that. I go, ooh, Lamont. I'm always calling Lamont to try to convince me, because I'm always the first one. See, Lamont's married, I'm not. So he has his wife that keeps him from sending out crazy emails. But I have no wife, so I send out crazy emails all the time. So I run everything through Lamont. I say, Lamont, should I send this email? Because I'm so pissed about what they're going to do to our script. He's like, no, Jeff, you're not going to send that email out. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to handle it like this, and let the reps handle it, and here's how we're going to do it. So you got to keep in mind, Bill, as much as you're going to agonize over it, because you will, because once you write something, you birth it. It's your baby. But you do have to try and put yourself in a Zen mindset and get some form of find some form of a happy place, so that you don't agonize over what they change or when it gets made, because you don't want to have to deal with release the Snyder cut, release the Bill cut, release the Bill script. Because then there's that version. Like, we want to see what Bill really had in mind, what his script really said. So There's that.
That's funny. You guys are just like me and my writing partner. She's the one who's like, I just wrote this email back, blah, and I'm like, just breathe. You have to let it sit for like a minute and think about it. Don't do it.
That is definitely me. I drive him out crazy with that.
Okay, so we were gonna go to Peter, but he jumped off. So let me look on this list. Oh, there you are. Hey, Peter.
Hey.
How are you?
Okay, how are you?
Good. Go ahead with your question.
Yeah, this is a question because I keep hearing kind of different different views on this, different pieces of advice. Do you think it's better to have like a wide range of genres in your spec script portfolio?
Ooh, that's a good question, Peter. That's a good question. I will. Lamont and I will probably say two different things. But go ahead, Lamont.
What I'm going to say, Peter, is write what you love. Right? I look. I can tell you, I've had a problem in Hollywood for a while because people try to put me in a box and I don't fit in a box. But in order to do that, I literally had to write 7 different types of things that are all kind of happening at the same time. Okay, best example. I was looking for agents. I went to one of the big agencies. I sent them I put them a script to read. It was more like a Sopranos kind of, like mob spec. It's great. They were like, this is really good. Where's your superhero sample? I'm like, but I write on a superhero show. So you don't need it. I can do that. So people try to put you in a box.
Right. They want to typecast you as a writer.
Yes. Write what you know and what you love. And if it's good, they'll figure it out. Like eventually you'll find someone that you click with that will let you be who you are. But originally, like initially, they're going to try to find a lane for you just to get you in.
Right. I mean, my tendency is to want to write almost like maybe I'm not interested in horror, maybe I'm not interested in faith-based films or Hallmark movies, but pretty much everything else interests me.
All right, so let me say this to you, Peter. Let me say
Jeff
this.
is just over here like combing his beard, like waiting to talk.
I'm going to be accountable. Listen, Peter, I think the question is an amazing question. But also there's a whole thing. Here's the thing. You know that terminology, that term jack of all trades?
Master of none.
Knows it, right? Yeah. Everybody knows a jack of all trades. Yes, the ending, the second part of that, which nobody really discusses, is jack of all trades, master of none. So you don't want to be a master of none. So in essence, I get it. I'm with you. I love to spread myself out. I would love to do different genres and stuff like that. But okay, let's take for example, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, right? So we take Phoebe Waller-Bridge from Fleabag, right? Fleabag, writer on Killing Eve. Phoebe's got a style. She's got a writing style that she's mastered. Now she can do whatever she wants. She can do whatever she wants now because of the fact that she's mastered this one area. And now when they go, well, Phoebe, what do you want to do? She can say, hey, I want to write, this space thing. I want to, do a horror thing. She can do whatever she wants now. So it's just something, it's just food for thought for you, Peter, in that regard. If you can get, let's say, for example, let's take Aaron Sorkin. Like Aaron Sorkin, who started literally in like a political area. And that's kind of where he kind of started, like his whole writing scenario came from like political stuff. And he's branched off to do all different kinds of things. And the reason why, because then everybody wanted to say, hey, I want an Aaron Sorkin script. Hey, how do I get an Aaron Sorkin script? And well, it depends on what Aaron wants to write for you today. And that's how he, was able to, get to, the rarefied airspace that he is in now. So it's just something for you to think about. For me personally, I really, my sister pulled my coattails to that, saying, because I really never used to think about the end of it, master of none part. I always think, I want to be a jack of all trades. My sister finally said to me, hey, it's also you're a master of none, buddy. So, look at the whole statement. So it's up to you though, Peter, but I'm just saying, it's really hard to deny you a gig if you've mastered, if they look at you and go, you know what, that Peter, man, we bought all those scripts, and all those scripts made $100 million in the box office. He can write whatever he wants right now. So, and that's what you really want. You want that.
From your lips.
Hey, listen, I'm hoping just
Thank
get
you,
me and
guys.
Lamont to rewrite. Just get me and Lamont to rewrite for you.
This is great. Thank you for the answers, and I'm looking forward to the rest of this panel.
Good luck, buddy.
Thanks.
Hey, I had a question. Jeff, do you ever, do you always, well, no, I know the answer is no, but because you go direct other things, but do you ever take pitches for projects and things that you like on your own that you go direct? Or
Yes, definitely do. I take pitches all the time. Take pitches and read scripts all the time as well. Always looking for stuff. I mean, there's always stuff happening. I take short film scripts too. Actually, I like short scripts. I like short film script submissions the best because it's easier to get money for a short film than it is to get for a feature nowadays. And also I can see a person's writing style from their short script. Mm-hmm. I can see, me personally, I can see that. And, and I always, run things by Lamont and say, hey, Lamont, got the short script. What do you think? And he'll look at it and tell me what he thinks as well. So, yes, taking submissions is always a good thing.
Cool. What do you think are the elements of a short script that are the most important? Because I've read a lot of shorts too, and I feel like people tend to write a lot and then it's like either a cliffhanger ending that doesn't make sense or not a good enough, strong enough sort of moment at the end.
Well, I like short scripts. I like character pieces. Mm-hmm. I like a piece a short film that's going to fully let me know who this person or who these people are. And then some of it can have like no action in it or anything. There's a movie, a feature on Netflix called The Circle. Mm-hmm. And it's about these people, it's a science fiction film about these people standing in a circle. And they're on some spaceship. And they're standing in these spots and they can't get off of these spots. And if they get off of the spot, then they die. So these aliens are kind of killing them off one by one, and you have to vote and you have to do this whole thing. And I can literally tell how that started from a short. I can literally tell. And then I did the research to find out, yes, it did start from a short film. So you can literally see it's just about the people around in this circle, and everybody's personality is represented. You got a cop in there, you got a gangbanger, you got a mother, you got a family, you got a pregnant woman, you got all these different people. And it's it takes you through the journey so quickly, and you're so invested in the characters that you never realize that you never left the spaceship. You've been on a spaceship, but you've never seen it. You've never even left the spaceship, but you're so immersed in it. And there's another film on Netflix called The Platform. The Platform. And it's about this platform that goes down in this prison, and it lowers down, has food on it, and goes from the top to the bottom, and people have to eat on each platform. It gives you a certain amount of time to eat, and by the time it gets to the bottom platform, it's usually no food on it. And but it's another character study. It's a character study of the people on the platform and how people are mean to each other. It's such a great film. So anyway, I look for that stuff. To answer your question, I look for Shannon, to answer your question, I look for stuff that's going to speak to a character and really let me know, what these people are going through. Another one real quick to look out for is this film called The Belko Experiment. Mm-hmm. That's another interesting one. That's a character study.
We know that one. Yep.
Yarvo.
Belko.
Shout out to Dave. So
Dave was on here a little while ago, a couple months ago. We did a talk with Dave.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Nice. So that's what I like, but Lamont.
Yeah.
No, for me, it's just I just want to know what the world is like. I want to know how these characters fit in this world. I want the world to be like robust and fleshed out, and like these characters are living in this place. I'm cool with a good cliffhanger, but it has to be a good one. Mm-hmm. It has to be a cliffhanger that makes me want to go, ooh, what happens next? Not
right.
That was
clever.
But
right.
Again, all characters, like Jeff said, it's all about, in a short, you have 20 minutes to tell a story sometimes a whole story of, and things only work if you fall in love with the characters and you want to see this journey. It doesn't matter if it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 3 hours. Like, no one cares about Star Wars: A New Hope if you don't care about Luke, Leia, and Han.
Mm-hmm.
So
I even hate calling it A New Hope, though. I never call it that. I just call it Star Wars.
Yeah,
I hate calling
Star
it A
Wars.
New Hope. But also, just real quick, another partial answer to your question, Shana, was I did my very first film I did was a short film, and that's the one that won me a bunch of awards. It's called Breakdown, and you guys will never see it, but I'll just tell you about it. It's literally real quick. It's about this woman. It's another female lead. It's about a woman who is at the bus station, and she's trying to get a bus out of town, and she's sitting at the bus station getting harassed by a bunch of people, a bunch of different things, like 20 minutes short. A bunch of different things happen to her at this bus station where she's just trying to get out of town. Come to find out, there's the B story is that this bank has been robbed, and this bank's robbed a lot of money, and they're trying to find the people who did it, and they're catching the people one by one who tried to escape. We come to find out by the end of the short, the people in the bus station, each time she does something, there's a guy in the bus station sitting next to her. He's masturbating, so she has to get away from him. She goes to the bathroom and gets hit on by a woman, and she literally leaves back and goes. And so there's all these crazy things that happen in the bus station that drive her bananas, to keep upping the ante for her. We come to find out at the end of it, the bus station is surrounded by cops. They're like, come out, while you're in there. You robbed the bank. Come to find out that she's the person who robbed the bank. And she's got this big machine gun in her bag, so she goes crazy and she pulls it out. And because the people that are inside are messing with her, and there's one guy that keeps on hitting her, she pulls a gun out and she starts shooting everybody inside the bus station. And little do the cops know outside that she's killing everybody in the bus station. They just hear shooting, so the cops start shooting into the bus station. So all the police that are surrounding the bus station start shooting. And the only survivor at the end when the smoke clears is the woman. She's the only survivor in the whole bus station. So what the cops do is they go inside, they get her, they get a statement from her. They don't think she's a thief. They don't think she's one of the robbers because, hey, she's a woman and she looks harmless. So they let her go and they put her on her bus. They take her name, she gives them a fake name to put her on her bus. And make matters worse, the bus is about to take off and one police officer comes running, says, hey, hold up. And he gives her the bag. He said, you left your bag. It's the bag full of money.
The money.
They even give her the bag full of money, and she drives off. And because they thought, no woman did all this. And she put the gun next to a guy over there somewhere.
Yeah.
And literally they let the mastermind behind the whole thing go. And that won me a bunch of awards. That won me the HBO deal that I had with them for 2 years. So I love shorts like that, where, the twist, and also it had a purpose. Had a guy been the lead of that, then, it wouldn't have been believable. Everyone's going to, question a man, well, maybe you're one of them, but a woman in the mindset of this society that we live in, where people, look down on women and don't think this of women, don't even want to give equal pay to women. She took advantage of that mindset and was able to escape scot-free. So things like that, I like.
Yeah, it makes you think differently. Yeah. I like that. I want to see that. Okay, so let's go.
Vanessa Williams, by the way.
Oh, amazing.
I have to send it to you.
Yeah, I want to see it for sure. Let's go to, I think it's Diane or I'm sorry, my name's Shana, so people always say Shauna, Sheena, whatever. So when you come up, Diane, tell us how to say your name. Diane.
Hello.
Dan?
It's Dayan. Yeah.
Dayan. Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Go ahead with your question.
So I was just wondering, if it's possible, you guys, I know, Jeff, you made the commute all the way from Brooklyn years ago, and I moved cross country years ago too. But as far as working as, selling scripts or doing this kind of creative work, do you think it's possible to do it outside of LA, or do you really have to be in LA every day, kind of setting up meetings and meeting with agencies and sort of kind of hanging with that crowd? Because it's obviously not possible for everybody to kind of live in LA, but there's probably a lot of talent out there that that really could sell scripts or things like that if they develop them?
Right now,
Well, I'm gonna speak before Lamont real quick because I know what Lamont. I'm gonna lead into Lamont real quick. So, being a writer, we have a tendency. One of the things I love about Lamont Magee is being a writer. We have a tendency to think that we have to silo ourselves off from the world and just write and be a super purist and then just send it to our manager or our agents. The one thing Lamont does so well is that he's a writer and a purist as well, but he's very social. So Lamont will go out and meet with actors and meet with directors and, meet with producers and talk with them. And, he takes it to the next level. So meaning that first level is getting your script written, but Lamont, what he'll do is he will get the script written, but then he'll go meet with people who he thinks will be a good lead for that. And I'm talking about star talent. Like Lamont don't play around. He doesn't just get like your D or C list actor. He'll go and find a way to get next to, Rosario Dawson or, any big name actor. Lamont will find a way to get in a situation where, he can have a conversation with them and get their number and exchange information and send them the script. And next thing you know, they're attached. So, being a writer, and I think it's hard to do because a lot of writers are introverts naturally, but it's worth it to take it on as a challenge, as a writing challenge to once I finish my script, okay, let me see if I can challenge myself, no matter where you are. If you're in New York, if you're in LA, if you're in Omaha, Nebraska, wherever, now thanks to Zoom and these things, you can find a way to get to your talent. Because even in social media, a lot of talent will, if you send a nice enough, a dope enough tweet, or people will respond. You'll get Seth Rogen will send you a text back. He'll tweet you, he'll retweet you, or tweet you back, and all of a sudden you'll be having a conversation with Seth Rogen. So all these things are possible, and I think I love that Lamont does do that.
So, Dan, right?
Yeah, Dan.
All right. So, right now we're in interesting times. Literally, we're on Zoom, right? Before, I would say, because like Jeff said, I hustle, man. I make sure I meet people. Because that's part of the gig. Like it's people hire people that they know. Material is great, but then it's like if they get 10 scripts that are all good, and they have to pick, and they're like, oh yeah, I met this guy out at a cocktail party, and he was fun, he was cool. Let's get him in here. You like separate yourself. But right now it's a very interesting opportunity because if your script's good, if you submit it, you get feedback, you can have conversations on Zoom. You can get an agent on Zoom. They will send your script out. You will have meetings on Zoom. So it doesn't matter where you are now. This COVID thing has changed the culture a little bit where you can still meet people from wherever you are. Like when this thing hit, we were doing Black Lightning. We did the writer's room. I was home. We did it on Zoom. Like a lot of writers' rooms were on Zoom. So right now, I don't know how long it's going to take for this thing. I don't know what normal is going to be from now on, but I know you have a shot now. If you're not in LA, because normally I would say you have to be here because you have to take the meetings, you have to do the face-to-face stuff. But now the face-to-face stuff is computer to computer, and I don't know if that's going to change anytime soon. So if you're going to take a swing, make sure you have all your ducks in a row and you have all your stuff that you want to send out. This is the time you take your swing.
I see. Yeah, because I mean, for me, it's always kind of going back and forth to LA or the Bay Area. Those trips can be costly, and but you're this time you're right is a much easier time to do meetings. I probably have had more meetings online than I've done in an entire year just in the past 3 months.
Yeah.
And it's like I said, I don't know if it's going to change anytime soon, but what Hollywood always wants is material. So when they can shoot, they can just shoot because they need to make up. Like all these streamers need content. All these networks need content, especially the streamers though, because they're launching these $1 billion like streaming services with not a lot of material. So that's my advice.
All right, thank you for your question. So now we're gonna kind of wrap up this. So if you guys have any last advice? Like, what's the best advice that you've received? Like, what advice do you want to give writers who, you know, are beginning or in the middle or pre-WGA or like still trying to like figure their way?
Ooh. Lamont, you go with that one first, because I'm trying to still think about that question.
Okay, so the advice I would give writers is write.
Profound.
You just need to write. Like, honestly, because like I said earlier, if you have that one good script, they're going to ask you, what else do you have? And if they ask you, what else do you have? And you give them 2 good scripts, they might say, that's great. What else do you have? You need to be ready, but also you need to be able to take a note. Like, some notes are bad. Some notes are bad. You have to be able to get out of your own way. And if you ask for help, accept the help. You don't have to take all the notes, but respect the people's time that took the time out of their day to give you the notes. And because everybody just wants to the goal is to make your script the best script it can be. So again, write, persevere, network if you can. Don't be creepy. Never. Don't be creepy. There's a difference.
Don't be creepy.
And believe in yourself, but you also have to believe in your level, believe in your talent. If this is your first script, don't think you're gonna go run and get like the biggest agent. It could happen, but it's a time thing. It's like you get better. It's like anything. You just can't pick up a ball and go play basketball and be the best ever. You have to work at it. It's a job, but it's a job that if you love it, you feel like you don't work a day in your life. I never feel like I'm working. It's like I get to play in everybody's sandbox and then I wake up and do it again. So I'm blessed, I'm lucky, and I know it. And if I could help in any way, I try to.
Excellent.
Okay. What's the question again?
Well, what's your advice for writers who are trying to figure out, you know, how to get representation or just find their way? Like, what's your advice now that you're not at that, you know, poor stage anymore where you're getting Lamont to pay for your groceries and stuff?
Yeah, not anymore. My advice would be I agree with a lot of what Lamont said. Like, you know, writers write, so continue to write. But also, I think if you already have written some stuff, you know, challenge yourself. I just saw a question in the Q&A thing that I answered about feature length versus short film scripts, and I challenge those of you out there who have feature length scripts that you can't get made, or you can't get bought, or you can't get looked at all. Write a short version of it. Go back and do a reverse and go, okay, let me see if I can turn this into a short script. Like, does it have any bite as a short film, as a short script? You know, I challenge you all to, you know, go take a look at some, like, there's the short for Whiplash. Mm-hmm. Go on YouTube and watch the short film for Whiplash. And you can, if you watch that short film, you can literally think about what the short feature script was, the short script was versus the feature length script. And you knew from watching that, just like J.K. Simmons knew from reading that short film script, that he had to be in it. Because J.K. is in the short. Miles Teller isn't in the short, but J.K. is in the short. He read that short and thought, oh my God, I got to be in this. This is amazing. And then he went from there to obviously still do the feature. But J.K. was still J.K. when they did the short. He was still J.K. Simmons. You know, so do that, because if you're short, if you take that feature length script and find a way to make a short out of it and attract a level of talent like a J.K. Simmons, you know, that will show you that your feature length script is worth it as well. You go, okay, you know, maybe they didn't see it in my feature when they read it, but if they see it in the short, then they go, oh, so the feature will be like this. I got it now. I got it. I couldn't see it in the big feature, but now I see it in the short. So, you know, so keep working, like, you know, just keep swimming, like Dory says, just keep swimming, just keep swimming. just keep doing it, keep looking at it from different angles. And, you know, and finding representation is important. But when I first logged on, I heard Lamont saying some stuff about finding your tribe, your group of people. Find your tribe, because usually within the tribe, because if you think about it, I don't know if you said this already, Lamont, I may be repeating yourself. Once back in the day, George Lucas, geez, now I'm blanking. So it was Lucas and
Lucas, Spielberg, Coppola.
Lucas, Coppola, and our guy, what's it called?
De Palma, yeah.
De Palma. All these guys were a crew. They were a group of filmmakers. Spielberg too, he was part of that crew. They were all young filmmakers coming up, no money, no nothing. You know, they were just with dreams and hopes and wrote their scripts and thought this is the way the world is going to go for us, and it didn't. THX 1138 flopped, failed. No one liked it. You know, there were so many things that they did that no one liked. The Rain People, Coppola did. Nobody liked the Rain People. So I'm just saying, your tribe is usually the ones that are going to help you out. Each one pull each other up. So remember that too. The person who's standing next to you is odds are is going to be the person that helps you, as opposed to the person that's 10 steps ahead of you. That person that's 10 steps ahead of you will probably never even look back to see what you're doing or how you're doing. It's the ones that are right next to you on your left and on your right. They're gonna be like, hey, you good? I'm good. You good? You good? You're not good? You good? Okay, we good together? Okay, here we go. And that's what you want.
Excellent. Well, thank you guys so much. I mean, this has been the time flew by. I looked at the time, I'm like, whoa, it's already 7:30. Thank you guys
yes,
so much for being on here. I absolutely